Hi, this is Tommy Pope. It's about 3:30 in the afternoon on Thursday. We've had a lot going on this week, so much, in fact, that I wanted to make a list, and I hope you can hear me. It didn't take, but 2 weeks, 3 weeks for me to get the Bluetooth working, so hopefully the microphone's working. Senate finally started working on the roads bill sometime this week. I think it'll go on into next week for sure, looking at the gas tax component, looking at the reform of DOT, also looking at a tax reform. I think, again, it's important what we're hearing, and I've actually got somebody working on the data for me to make sure this is accurate, that about 1/3 of the gas tax we receive actually comes from folks from out of state. So if nothing else, I think it's going to be smart that we do some type of swap that allows those users to help pay for our infrastructure, because certainly, as we know back home, we've got to get on that infrastructure. Ethics, no real movement in the Senate on ethics, quite candidly. I've heard some talk, but I'll believe it when we see it in that regard. One of the bills I think I've talked about before was in subcommittee. It came to the floor. We'll get to it next week. Is the Lieutenant Governor bill. Remember, a couple years ago, you voted to let the governor and lieutenant governor run together on the same ticket. This will start in 2018, but we didn't really have the implementation language. So I've got a bill that will address that. It kind of removes the lieutenant governor duties on a number of areas where the lieutenant governor previously presided over the Senate. It'll move that out. It'll allow us to select the lieutenant governor after the initial primaries. And the reason I thought that was important, if I was fortunate enough, for example, to win as governor, and the best candidate for this state for lieutenant governor was the second runner-up, I certainly want to leave that opportunity open to select that individual. Nothing will prevent somebody from saying, well, if I'm elected, I'll select so-and-so as lieutenant governor. I just think for the good of the state, we remove the politics and we make it what's best to put the best person in place. Finally, in that same vein, it will give the governor authority, if we're able to pass it, will give the governor authority to allocate duties to the lieutenant governor. Right now, the lieutenant governor duties are really specified. Selfishly, I want it much like the solicitor's office was for me with myself and Deputy Solicitor Brackett. I want that same type thing in the governor's office. So if we're going to run as a team, let's work as a team. I think that's better for the citizens and the taxpayers. So we got that coming. Also, there's another bill that passed in subcommittee I was involved in that would raise the magistrate's level for civil cases up to $25,000. You may say, well, why does that matter to me? I will tell you, a lot of times people come to my office and they need help, or maybe they've been in an accident, and the magistrate level right now is $7,500. Well, I can tell them how. I always joke, say, don't tell my law partners I'm telling you this, but I can tell them how to handle the case in magistrate's court without having to hire an attorney, and that can be a significant savings for them. This would allow people, the citizens, to access court up to $25,000 and still handle their own case. I think that's important to give citizens more access, and it certainly gives them the opportunity, if need be, they could hire an attorney, but it prevents them from the cost and expense of going up to the common pleas court. And so hopefully we'll get some traction on that. It may have a tough row in the Senate, but at least we'll see if we can get that out, and hopefully that'll be next week too. Finally, today we had a bill we passed on foreign law. A lot of you know, you've heard Sharia law. We have not seen it applied in South Carolina, but basically what I think this bill does is clearly evinces our legislative intent that the law to be applied in South Carolina, the United States, is our constitutional law. Somebody said, well, that's not happened yet. Well, there's things that the U.S. Supreme Court have done in interpreting the Constitution that we did not foresee happening necessarily either. So I'm comfortable that this bill is not singling anyone out. There were some concerns, that perhaps we're singling out Muslims. I think it's broad-based, and it just says this is the law of our land, and this is the law we'll use, and we won't interject these foreign laws. So I was very comfortable with that bill. It passed today. Finally, there's some discussion, and hopefully this will come to fruition. As you know, in the past, numerous times I've voted for, and the House has voted for and passed bills to shorten the session. This never seems to get through the Senate. We've actually got an idea this time, if we can get our work done and the bills that we need, the road, the ethics, are not coming back from the Senate, we may take a furlough next month, save the taxpayers some money, and not come to the House for a week in order to let the Senate try to move forward on some business. I think it makes good sense. In essence, what that allows us to do is act on our session shortening bill, save the taxpayers some money, let the Senate do some work, and rather than us just come here and go through the motions. I know this has been a long video, but it's been a long week. I'm going to head up to York County. I think Kevin Tolson's kicking off his run for sheriff, and I'm going to try to ride up there to see that. You know how to get me, Tommy@TommyPope.com. Some days I'm more tired than others, but I tell you, I always appreciate the opportunity to serve. Thanks a lot.